What is going on, guys? It's your boy Edward from Boxing Fanatical, and today we're going to talk about Joe Smith Jr.'s loss. What does this mean for his career and for the light heavyweight division? Stay tuned. What is up, everybody? So Joe Smith Jr. loses his fight to Sullivan Barrera. First, let me go ahead and recap the fight very quickly for you. Basically, it was Sullivan Barrera outclassing Joe Smith Jr., which everyone already knew would be the case, but Joe Smith Jr. has the ability to kind of get his power shots off, even against really skilled fighters, for example, Fonfara, and a major example, Bernard Hopkins. But for some weird reason, he did get off once in the first round, which he was losing the entire round, and then boom, he hit Sullivan Barrera, smack dab right on his forehead, and it set a precedent where you thought he was gonna eventually get close enough to get the knockout, because he just has that freakish, it'll end the entire fight kind of power. So he always has that chance. You know, to be quite honest, Joe Smith Jr. was like the true to life Rocky story. I mean, he got little chances here and there. He got a chance to fight Fonfara, and it was more of a prep, you know, to try to see if Fonfara can get up to the level where he can fight Bernard Hopkins, but he ended up getting knocked out in the first round in a major upset. So Bernard Hopkins saw an opportunity to fight Joe Smith Jr. He knew that he wasn't a big name, it was his going away fight. He wanted to have an easy fight. He ended up fighting Joe Smith Jr. He thought that he can outclass someone with power like that, but he got knocked out of the ring. And a lot of credit to Joe Smith Jr. because he's going up against these fighters he's going up against the true, you know, fighters, the ones that are good. Sullivan Barrera is really good. He lost to Andre Ward, but I mean, that's like losing to Mayweather. That doesn't make you bad. Canelo's still a good fighter. You know what I mean? Maidana was still a good fighter. You can lose to Mayweather, you can lose to Andre Ward. It doesn't make you a bad fighter. You're still a top level fighter. When he hit Sullivan Barrera in the forehead, I thought he was going to be able to end him throughout the night. I didn't think he was going to do it in the second round or maybe even the third round, but I thought throughout the night he was going to get close enough and eventually get his shot off and knock him out. I mean, because that was on his forehead and it knocked him down, like where he didn't know what was happening. It wasn't one of those flash, oh wow, it was one of those, whoa, where am I? Okay, now I know where I am kind of situation. So one thing that you can see is that the reason why I say it's a true to life Rocky situation is because he wins on his like grit and his power and his determination or will to want to win the fight. He wins based off of that, because in the skills department there's very little skills there. He doesn't set up traps, for example, for his punches. He can somehow get it off, and he has the courage to come in when there's guns blazing, when power punches are being flown in the air. He has the courage to come in to get his shot because he's so comfortable or so confident in his power shot. But the problem is he doesn't set traps, and by setting traps, I mean he doesn't create a scenario to create the twitch for the other fighter to position himself so that he can hit him with the right hook or the left hook or whatever punch he's trying to set up, because he has power in both hands. But whatever punch he's trying to set up, he doesn't do that. He doesn't jab to the stomach, see the fighter's reaction, notice, you know, that 80% of the time that he jabs, the fighter ducks slightly, moves to the left, moves to the right, you know, takes a step back, whatever it is, so that he can figure out where his head is going to be after a certain move, after a feint, after a jab, whatever it is. That is setting up a trap, and you can spring that trap after you've seen the same repetitive moves from your opponent happen on like an 80% clip. Then you decide, okay, most likely he's going to be over here after I do these series of moves, and hopefully I can catch him with a straight right. He doesn't have the ability. You could tell he never was able to do that. All he was doing was kind of moving back and seeing if something can land. He lost, and I feel bad that he lost because he was a true to life Rocky story. True to life Rocky story, and it would have been awesome to see him keep going, but in all honesty, it was kind of inevitable because of his inability to be as technical as he should be in that high level of boxing, but he will always have that puncher power that gives him the opportunity to win the fight. So kudos to Joe Smith Jr. for trying. I do feel bad that he lost, because I feel for him. He's a feel-good story, and I love feel-good stories, especially in the boxing world. I mean, he was like a spitting mirror image of the Rocky movies, just a Joe Schmo kind of guy, comes out of nowhere, beats like these top fighters, and goes on. But who knows? Maybe he loses to Sullivan Barrera. Maybe this gives him a little bit of a kick, and he goes in there with even more confidence. He at least can set up 1 or 2 traps and see if he can, get in there and win a fight with another top fighter, or work his way up, maybe get a rematch with Sullivan. But that's my 2 cents on Joe Smith Jr. Sad to see him go down and lose that fight. Hopefully he comes back strong. And hey, if he comes back, I mean, Rocky lost fights too, he's one of those, he might be one of those anomalies where it's like we're always rooting for him and we know he might not win, but darn it, it's great when he does. So even if he loses, we have like that expectation. We can expect something like that because of his lack of technicality. But when he does win, it makes everyone feel good, because it makes everyone feel like the common man or whatever can rise up and get in there with the top level and win a fight, which is what that feeling came in your body or in your mind when he beat Bernard Hopkins. So that's my 2 cents on Joe Smith Jr. And check out my breakdown. I'm going to break down the Omar Figueroa versus Robert Guerrero fight in a different video that's going to drop very close at the time that this video drops. So stay tuned for that. This is Edward from Boxing Fanatico. Peace out.